If you donate to charity, there are two new tax changes coming in 2026 that you should know about. One is a nice small bonus, but the other is going to cost you a little bit. And I'm going to look at both in this video. I'm Jack, the owner of Charitable Wealth Management, and I help retirees with their income taxes and investments. And the two changes that we're looking at, one, there's a new minimum donation. And the second, a tax benefit even if you don't itemize. Let's break both of these down. The first change is the new minimum donation. And between the two, I would say this is the bigger change. It impacts you if you choose to itemize deductions or you file a Schedule A. If you take the standard deduction, stick around for the second change. So, what is the new minimum donation? It's the introduction of a floor. And basically, that's just the IRS saying, hey, starting in 2026, you need to donate a certain amount to charity before you can start taking that tax deduction. And that floor, it depends on your income. It's set at 0.5% of your adjusted gross income. Now, adjusted gross income is basically your total income. Handful of adjustments equals your adjusted gross income. For most people, your adjusted gross income and total income are going to be in the same ballpark. But if you want to find out what yours is, look at line 11 of your 2025 tax return. Now, tax deductions, charitable contributions, rules can get pretty nuanced. It depends on what you donate, how much you donate, and where you donate to. So for this video, let's just look at a quick example of someone who decides to donate cash to charity. Let's introduce Sarah. She's 68 years old, single, and retired. Last year, her income was $200,000, so she decided to donate $20,000 to her favorite charity, the Challenged Athletes Foundation. We're expecting that her income is going to be the same this year, so she decided to donate another $20,000. But how much was she able to deduct? Well, in 2025, she got the full $20,000 deduction on her Schedule A. But in 2026, she could only deduct $19,000. Why the difference? Because of that new floor. The floor for Sarah is her income, $200,000, times that 0.5%, and that's $1,000. That $1,000 is a floor. It's the threshold that we have to overcome in order for her to get a tax benefit for her charitable donations. So we take the $20,000 donation minus $1,000 floor, and we get $19,000. That is the amount we're going to report on her 2026 tax return. So the fact that she missed out on that $1,000 is going to increase her federal taxes by roughly $240. And to be clear, not everything above that threshold is deductible in the current year. This is where the weird nuances of tax law and charitable donations can come into play. Depending on what you donate, there is a ceiling as to how much you can deduct in the current year. For cash, that ceiling is set at 60% of your income. So for Sarah's case, $200,000 times 60%, $120,000. So as long as she stays below that ceiling of $120,000, she can deduct her charitable contributions above that threshold in the current year. If she goes over that $120,000, well, she has to use it in the future then for up to 5 years. So again, this is where the weird nuances can come into play with tax law and with charitable contributions. So what can you do about it? The easiest thing would be consider bunching your donations. So looking at Sarah, in 2026, donate $40,000, take 2027 off. And then 2028, you donate another $40,000. This way, a larger chunk of her donation is clearing that 0.5% floor threshold. And from a tax perspective, she's getting a greater benefit then. And then the off years like 2027, she takes a standard deduction. And we already saw from my previous video, the two new tax changes that I'm looking at, a standard deduction for a retiree can get to be pretty high. So there's still a big tax benefit to doing that instead of itemizing your deductions. But what if you don't itemize your deductions? What if you don't have real estate taxes, state income taxes, mortgage interest, that much charitable contributions? You're just in a position where the standard deduction gives you a greater benefit. What are you supposed to do then? Well, that's where the second change comes into play. If you take the standard deduction, you can now deduct cash contributions to public charities. $1,000 if you're single or $2,000 if you're married. Now, it has to be cash to a public charity. Can't be stocks or household goods, and can't go to a donor advised fund. Cash, public charity. And is this going to be a needle mover for a lot of people's tax picture? Probably not. But if you're already donating to charity, you should at least be aware of it, because then you can choose to go ahead and take advantage of this tax benefit. Both of these changes apply to regular cash donations, but that's not the only way you can help charity, and sometimes not even the best way to help charity. These are 3 strategies I'll be covering in future videos: qualified charitable distributions, donor advised funds, and donating stock directly to the charity. Each one has their own pros and cons, their own trade-offs, and the best one depends on your situation. To make sure that you don't miss my review of these, go ahead and hit subscribe button. Take it easy.